These things were all in the corpse cave, and Stone Puppet swallowed it. When Xianxia and Yang were trying to collect Sun's true essence, they didn't have much time to deal with the minerals in Saint Crystal that piled up into mountains, so they made Stone Puppet help by swallowing it. A total of 7 or 8 hills of various minerals in Saint Crystals were piled up in the corpse cave. Although Stone Puppet swallowed only about half of it, they are still a staggering number. Some of these minerals are absorbed by it to enhance itself and compensate for the damage caused by Sun's true fire. The remaining large part is now piled up in front of Xianxia. At that time, they were rushing. Xianxia did not have time to check the quality and type of these minerals, but since it was piled up on the outside, they must be inferior in quality and rarity to those put in the space ring. After examining it with his spiritual mind, Xianxia also confirmed his guess. But there is no need for him to worry about these, since these minerals are all to be handed over to Yang. When he was about to put these things into the space ring again, Xianxia suddenly snorted, and fixed his eyes on a spot in the hill in front of him. He then took a fist-size, round, and white ball in his hand. He looked at the ball with suspicion, and soon it was like what he thought of the astonished look in his eyes, and after running the cultural technique, he noticed the pure energy infiltrating the ball in his hand. Xianxia's expression became weird, and he looked at the Stone Puppet with a blank stare, and said in amazement, "You can even purify this kind of thing?" Stone Puppet looked at him with his head tilted, without saying anything. Xianxia smiled slightly, knowing that it might not be able to express his emotions. After all, the Stone Puppet's spiritual wisdom is limited. Reaching out to take out the Stone Mansion restriction token that Yang had handed over to him, he poured in Saint Yuan and convey a message. A moment later, Stone Mansion's restriction was opened from the outside, and Yang walked in quickly, wondering, "Aren't you retreating? Why do you call me? Look at this." Xianxia reached out and threw the ball over. Yang took it, looked at him suspiciously, and then began to look at the ball carefully. After a moment, Yang's beautiful eyes widened. There was a look of surprise on her face, as if she had found something unspeakable. She quickly hurried to Xianxia and eagerly said, "Where did you get this thing? Is there any more?" Xianxia pointed his finger at the hill in front of him. Yang turned to look over there, and when she found out that there were so many balls in the hill like what she was holding in her hand, she could not help but feel a little lost. After a moment, Yang screamed and quickly reached the hill and put everything into her own space ring. "Give me a little bit." Xianxia looked at her with a depressed face. "What do you want to do?" Yang groaned, while covering the space ring without a trace with her small hands. "Cultivating, you can see what this thing is transformed from, right? I just broke through not long ago, and using this can better stabilize the realm." Xianxia reached out and scratched his face. "Of course I can see that this thing should be transformed by Xiao. Yang hugged the Stone Puppet, kissed on his small face. Xianxia looked dumbfounded, and the Stone Puppet was also showing a helpless look. "I didn't expect that Xiao could even purify and compress even Saint Crystal. This is good, and one of the problems I am worried about is solved." Hee hee. Yang looked at the Stone Puppet with her beautiful eyes and seemed like she wanted to kiss it again. "How can Stone Puppet be able to purify and compress even Saint Crystal? Did you not know it before?" Xianxia asked in amazement. Yang shook her head. "I tried it before. Xiao didn't have this ability, but Stone Puppet is born with the instinct to absorb all kinds of mineral essence and turn it into his own ability. Now it can do this. I guess it must be related to the sun's true essence, although I am not sure, but it should not be wrong." With that said, Xianxia nodded slightly. Sun's true essence is said to be the most hot essence extracted from the star source. It is absorbed by Stone Puppet to refine a little of Sun's true fire. It's not surprising that the ability of the Stone Puppet has changed. But even the Saint Crystal can be purified and compressed, so that each piece of Saint Crystal can form the shape of a ball, which is sensational enough. Within Star Territory, the best quality Saint Crystal known to date is high-rank Saint Crystal, but the existence of the ball has broken this common sense, and created a precedent. The energy contained in that ball is more pure than that of high-rank Saint Crystal. Yongkai just felt it a little, and felt that the energy contained in the ball is almost equivalent to 5 or 6 amount of high-rank Saint Crystal. This is not to say that the value of a ball is only equal to so many high-rank Saint Crystals. The value of this ball is much greater than this number. Because in theory, the ratio of exchange between high-rank Saint Crystal, middle-rank Saint Crystal, and low-rank Saint Crystal is 1 to 10. But know what martial artist knows, the ratio is only a ratio. In fact, the higher the grade of the Saint Crystal, the greater the value. The quality of Saint Crystal is good. When martial artist hits the bottleneck, they can use it to restore the Saint Yuan. It can even provide help when healing and meditating. At a critical moments, it can even be a matter of life and death. Today, although the energy contained in this ball is only equivalent to the sum of 5 or 6 high-rank Saint Crystals, if a large number of them are circulated, at least 10 or even 20 high-rank Saint Crystals can be exchanged. Of course, this is only in the early stage of a mass circulation. If this ball is sold alone, it can be 10,000, 100,000, or higher. After all, these things are rare. Of course, Yongkai wouldn't have any idea in this regard. From Yang Yan's performance just now, the unintentional swallowing of the Saint Crystal by Stone Puppet and the compressed ball would definitely be of great use to her. And it is most likely related to something she mentioned before. Yongkai did not ask carefully. Since Yang Yan said that she would give him a surprise, he just have to wait and see. Determined that these balls are things that can only be purified by the Stone Puppet after refining the true fire of the sun, Yongkai let go of his heart and asked Yang Yan about Jian Yu. After she came here, she and the other martial artist here get along really well. Wu Yi provided her with a lot of cultivation resources and a good cultivation environment. Now she is also retreating in a closed cultivation. After half the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Yang Yan walked away happily, not only taking away the balls and various other minerals, but she even took the Stone Puppet away. According to her words, if she hadn't watched Yongkai open the Stone Mansion restrictions, she had long wanted to rush in and ask Yongkai to ask Stone Puppet for help. With Stone Puppet next to her, the efficiency of her item refining will increase greatly, which is a great help for her grand plan. After Yang Yan left, Yongkai opened the Stone Mansion restrictions again, and touched the ring that Yang Yan specially refined in his hand. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth. There were only 2 things in this ring. One is 10,000 years ice jade-esque, and the other one is sun's true essence. But these 2 things are also the most expensive 2 things that he get on this trip. If any one of it leaked to the outside, it will cause a great sensation on the shadowed star. After thinking for a while, Yongkai took out an ancient book again, revealing the dignified color and sinking into silence. This ancient book is also obtained from the corpse cave and belonged to one of the ancient Yang sect's ancient book. At the time, there were too many ancient books, and Yongkai did not investigate them. Later, when Yang Yan was refining the ring that stored the sun's true essences, Yongkai had just flipped through some of them and found this ancient book, which aroused his interest. Because this ancient book does not record other cultural technique but the cultural technique dedicated to refine the flesh body. Yangkai's flesh body is much stronger than the martial artist of the same class. This all depends on various opportunities over the years and is not intentionally cultivated. Because the cultural techniques specifically for refining the flesh and the cultural techniques specifically for divine consciousness are extremely precious and rare. Even as some occasionally circulated outside, they are also rubbish and they can't get into the eyes of masters. Yongkai naturally doesn't bother to look at these things. Just didn't expect that in the underground corpse cave of ancient Yang sect, he got such a 5 elements indestructible sword. When Yongkai first saw it, he thought it was the secret book introducing swordsmanship. After careful investigation, he realized that it was actually the culture technique of the tempered flesh body. He had a rough understanding of this culture technique last time, knowing its depth and rarity. If it is really as stated in this 5 elements indestructible sword, if you practice this exercise to the extreme, you can achieve physical immortality. After a little cultivation, you can also transform a blood energy into a heavenly mystical 5 elements sword, which has great power against the enemy. This makes Xianxia feel very excited, but the requirements for practicing this cultural technique are also extremely demanding. The physical strength must be at least twice that of a martial artist of the same level in order to withstand the pain and destruction of cultivation. Xianxia feels that he can satisfy this demand, and there should be no problem. Secondly, the power of qi and blood must be exuberant because the damage to yourself from cultivating this kind of cultivation is also very great. If the qi and blood is a little bit weak, the cultivation may not be successful and you will lose your life. This demand, Xianxia also think that it is no problem. On the strength of qi and blood, he dare not say he is the first person in the star territory, but with the strange degree of golden blood, few people can surpass him. Third, to cultivate 5 elements indestructible sword, you must find the heaven and earth treasures of the 5 elements attribute, absorb the energy from these heaven and earth treasures, wash the essence of the marrow, experience countless years of accumulation, and finally achieve the 5 elements indestructible sword. What the treasure is, the 5 elements indestructible sword ancient book has a bit of a rough explanation. That is, to cultivate this cultural technique, the materials found should at least be equal to the 10-step monster beast core grade. This alone, I am afraid that no one can achieve it on the shadowed star. The 10-step monster beast is equivalent to that of a Void King Realm Master. And there is no such things on the shadowed star. There are 2 things that qualified for this conditions at Xianxia hands. It is the thing that Xianxia get in the last trip, which is the sun's true essence, and the previously obtained mysterious cloudy sunflower water. 10,000 years Ice Jade Desk is also eligible, but if you really want to cultivate this technique, he is not prepared to use the 10,000 years Ice Jade Desk, since he has other use for it. To be continued.